are talking about the app revolution. We're going to talk, or not the app revolution, the voice revolution. We're going to talk about, let me turn that off. We're going to talk about what's got me scared from the money show. So let's just jump right in. I guess we're not jumping right in because that took a little bit. Let's start here. Welcome to another episode of Cody Underground, another episode of the Trading with Cody live Q&A live stream chat. Just leave it, pipe. Let's go. You can go to tradingwithcody.com, sign up, yada, yada, yada. Listen, I was at the Money Show last week. I gave 3 or 4 talks while I was there. And, look, the vibe at the Money Show was greed, euphoria. And the market was down, like 10% in a straight line. And even the first day that I spoke there, it was Friday. And Friday morning, the market was down another 1,000 points and put in their low, or darn near put in their low for this big downturn that we had. And every single question I got about the market that day and the next day on Saturday was, it's already done going down, right? There's no reason for the stock market to go down. Everything's fine, right? And as long as everything's fine, markets go up. I'm afraid not. Sure, look, for 7-8 years since the bottom, since 2010, when I left Fox, and I've been bullish, and I've owned stocks, and we bet on the $1 trillion app revolution, and we're here. We kept talking about for the last 7 or 8 years that there are so many bubble-blowing bull market dynamics in the stock market, in the economy, in the politics of this country. And whether it was 0% interest rates and quantitative easing, or targeted tax tricks, or the latest targeted tax tricks and the tax cuts, most of which benefit giant corporations like the ones we own and we've been invested in, partly because of these bubble-blowing bull market dynamics. So that stuff's all great, but that doesn't mean that bull markets don't end while times are good. In fact, the markets will probably at some point anticipate and start their downturning before you see it in the economy, or as you start to see it in the economy, like we did in, say, 2007, when the real estate crisis was hitting, and you could see Bernanke and the Federal Reserve and everyone in utter denial that there was a downturn. Now, is there something like that right now? There's Bitcoin crashing. It's crashed from 20,000 today back to 9,500. Of course, it's up from 7,000, 6,500 just at the bottoms last week. That's still, that's certainly not a multi-trillion-dollar market with leverage built on top of it like the mortgage, the real estate industry was in this country, 2007. So, look, I don't see something imminent that's going to cause this downturn in the economy or something that I'm freaking out about per se. But what I don't like is everybody being complacent. I don't like the fact that my first talk at the Money Show was called Bubbles, Frauds, and Scams, Your Stock Market Themes for 2018. And the room had maybe 100 people in it. Not standing room only. But if I love these guys texting me, my partner's telling me they can't get on my app while I'm live streaming. Well, let me know afterward. I have to go figure out how to log into an app. Good luck with that. At any rate, where was I, Piper?
Bubbles, frauds, crashes.
Bubbles, frauds, and scams. And the room, it was full but not packed. And I talked for 30 minutes about being cautious and how there are, especially in the blockchain world right now, so many scams, cryptocurrency scams. Every time you see an ad for the next Bitcoin, you should be scared. Because often the guy who's promoting that next Bitcoin is being paid with those coins that he's then promoting to you and selling to you. Just like a blockchain penny stock that changes its name from Long Island Iced Tea or Riot to blockchain something, and the stock goes up 500 or 1,000%. And those people are probably insiders or simply flipping those shares to you. So look, there's scams and frauds. I'm not saying Long Island and Riot are scams. I'm not saying they're not either. Do your homework. I certainly would never touch any of that stuff. Penny stock, blockchain, name-changing stocks with a 10-foot pole. I do believe in blockchain. There's going to be some great blockchain investments and a lot of money to be made in blockchain and in the blockchain revolution in coming years. But now's not the time to do it. And that's the point of my talk the other day. And people were like, all right, yeah. And the next day I give a talk that is called the blockchain revolution and the great cryptocurrency crash. Standing room only, hundreds of people can't get in the room. I spent 45 minutes talking about why they should be really scared right now and not buying Bitcoin. Or I bought Bitcoin at $100. I took it as payments at $100 each back 5 years ago at tradingwithcody.com. And I'm selling those Bitcoins now. I've been selling them since they were at 2,000. I'm still selling them all the way up, all the way down. I'll sell them a little bit every week while I can, while they're up 200-fold from where I bought them, while they're up 100-fold from where I bought them. I don't think that you should be on the other side of that, buying them or loading up on it or something. It's a frenzy. You don't have a great buying, the great buying opportunities in blockchain and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency isn't happening when companies are changing their names and going up 500%. So I finished that talk, and everybody follows me out. Dozens of people follow me out of the room. Everybody's talking to me. Cody, but are you really don't? And by the way, I mentioned 5 blockchain-related cryptocurrency stuff that I would think I'd have a tiny bit of. I'm not selling all of my Bitcoin. I'm going to hold a little bit of Bitcoin forever. There's 4 or 5 others I'd mess with. Ethereum's on a bad one. Stellar is one I like recently. Seeing stuff being built on it. But I just, look, when it's clear that there's greed and a frenzy going on, I just don't think most people should be buying Bitcoins and thinking it's going to work out that well for themselves. So I finished that talk, and as I'm trying to leave and get in an Uber or whatever, a lady, sweet old woman, probably 75, 80 years old, and her husband walk up, and they're dressed very nice, pearl earrings. Says, Cody, I won't listen to your talk. I heard everything you just said, but my question is, should I maybe buy 1 Bitcoin for my grandchildren? Did you listen to anything I just said? I don't know. The point being, guys, when it's frenzy, when it's bubblicious, whether this is the top or not, I don't know. And if you think you can get in and out, more power to you. But I don't think that's a sustainable way for the average retail investor to build wealth by buying cryptocurrencies in February 2018 blindly. And so all of that the wrap up, that whole vibe at the retail investor-oriented money show was complacency, greed, or, yearning for some big gains. And that's not, 5 years ago at the money shows, it wasn't like that. It was empty. This place was packed. Just be aware of the cycles and just be aware that you should probably be more cautious right now than you were 2 years ago. Even if there's still a bubble blowing, bull market dynamics that are filling this stock market and pushing us higher. Just trim a little. Put on a few hedges. Don't go load up on Bitcoins. All right. I'm going to take some questions. I just realized, Piper, you're going to have to invite people to get on there. See if that'll work. Anybody on the conference call here that would like to chime in and or on the app, I'm inviting you to chime in, taking some questions. I'm sure there's some in my chat room here. Let's get over to the chat room. I forgot to tell you guys that you could call in to the conference call number like I always do. Here we go. Let me tell everybody. Yes, I'm live on the app, not on YouTube right now. Couldn't figure out how to get it logged in. I think we were doing a operator error. Ask me anything in here right now too. All right, Cody, here's a question. Well, I hit refresh and now it won't load. Hold on. It's still not loading. Internet goes down whenever we go live on TV. Of course, that's the way the world works. One of the questions that is in there that I did just see was about cybersecurity stocks and best ways to play that. And I'll tell you right now that my favorite pure play in the cybersecurity world is Palo Alto Networks. It is a stock that has not moved much in the last year or so, and frankly, I think it might be pent up. Without a doubt, cybersecurity and protecting networks, especially inside of giant corporations, is paramount right now. And so if you can find a company like Palo Alto that is a great, huge margins, fast growing, maybe the de facto standard, it's sort of can't go wrong with Big Blue back in the 50s and 60s. You can't go wrong with Palo Alto right now. Cody, what do you think of Shopify? Shop stock here. You know, look, it's another one that's a huge grower. The valuation has been stretched for a long time. I've never been comfortable with the management and or the way they get people into the system. And if you recall, Jeffrey Citron, or Jeff, whatever the guy's name at Citron Capital, Jeffrey Luck, I don't remember. Anyway, he's written about that, and I don't know if he's short it right now, but I'm not a fan of Shopify enough that I would buy the stock. I wouldn't short it either, but I don't own it or use it. Cody, I gave in to my emotions and sold all of my positions last week. I tried, oh boy, where did that just go? I shouldn't have tried to game every swing. What would you advise now? Scale up slowly on a few stocks or stay put? I mean, this is a Trading with Cody subscriber, and I certainly don't want to, chastise you, but man or woman, please, last week we talked. I sent several notes. Don't panic. Don't panic. And before that, I sent several notes telling you guys, remember what it felt like the last time the market was down 10% in a straight line and you wanted to panic. And if you did, it is what it is. So let's address it. You panicked last week. You're out of your stocks. I mean, Trading with Cody subscribers, we've got stocks like Solar Edge that's up another 25% today. It's up 300 or 400% from where we bought it a year and a half, 2 years ago. And, so we've got stocks we've owned for 5 or 10 years that are up hundreds or thousands of percent. And if you sold them all, you got to just slowly start. You got to just pretend you're a new subscriber. And what I would tell a new subscriber is simply this: start slowly, Maybe buy 1/3. If you had $1 million in the market last week and you sold all of it, maybe put $100,000 to work initially here. Buy 1/3 of your 5 favorite stocks. And then maybe add another 1/3 of another 5 stocks, and then add another 1/3 of each of those stocks that you already bought, and do it in tranches and start slowly, and don't be in a rush, and don't regret. You can't look back. It is what it is, and just deal with it. I will tell you this, that there's always someone who's got an even worse scenario than you, and I dealt with a guy last week, a Trading with Cody subscriber. I give Trading with Cody subscriptions, by the way, to any active military soldier, anybody active in the military, or anybody who's a first responder, police or fire. Just send an email to support@tradingwithcody.com. Let us know that you're a first responder or a soldier and that you want a free subscription. Send it to you, no problem, forever, as long as you're active. And one of those subscribers wrote me last week, and apparently he'd been trading the TVIX and one of those VIX vehicles, 2 or 3 times levered VIX vehicles that are measures. You're basically in that moment trading fear on leverage. The VIX is sort of a fear gauge. It's measures sort of how much people who are trying to hedge their portfolios by buying puts are paying in premium, and a few among other things. But you're measuring fear amongst active traders, really, is what the VIX is, and then doing it 2 or 3 times up. You're levering that, and wow, shocker, that whole thing went haywire when the market crashed, even blipped 3 or 4% down. And anyway, this subscriber was wiped out. I think he lost, almost all of it. Wasn't $1 million or anything, but it's a big chunk of change. And my advice to him was the same thing, was just start slowly. You can't look back. Put some money in that account that you can put to work. Don't be greedy. Don't think that you can suddenly get your positions right back, or that you can, if, some of our stocks have moved 5, 10, 15% since you sold them. Well, that's okay. It's all right. It's not about the last 10 days. It's not about that last 5, 10, or the next 5, 10, 15%. You are talking about the next 10,000 days of your life when you're investing. Always remember that. That's 30 years. Your time horizon is 30 years, and maximizing the potential rewards and upside in your portfolio and minimizing the risks and downside. So don't panic like that guy did, and don't lever up trying to make some big gains on crazy VIX volatility vehicles. Be cool. 2 most important words in business: be cool. Hi, Cody. With the Fed interest rates on the rise, what do you think about investing in a local bank ETF? And there's another question from the same subscriber. I'm come back to that. I don't like ETFs in general, except as hedges. I, as Trading with Cody subscribers know, did buy some IWM and SPY puts on January 29th or January 30th, I think, is when I started buying them. And I might use those for hedges. But in general, if I'm going to find and invest in a stock, I want to find the best, in this case, local bank. I wouldn't want to own a collection of local banks that someone else picked out. I want to go find a great local bank that I like the management, that's cheap, that's an incredible opportunity. So, Jim Rogers, I think, is the one who said in his book that his best investment opportunities have been the times when he waited until there was a bag of gold in the room and all he had to do was pick it up and walk out with it, when the opportunity is so obvious. And so, again, I don't see any opportunities like that right now, per se. Just wild, great opportunities loading up on stocks like we were maybe in 2010 or 2011, and that's okay. We can be slow But going back to your question, I wouldn't have a problem with investing in a local bank. Basically, probably at any point in the cycle, as long as I really liked the company, I really liked the management at that bank, knew the community, etc. The next question on here is, what about with GE down to below $15? Do you think it is a good buy? I will tell him the same thing I answered when it was down to $18. And I had this question a month ago. No reason to rush it. No reason to be greedy. Just be cool. Just be patient. GE has got so many problems, and frankly, it might be a good trade here, but I'll never think it's going to be a revolution investment. Too many cockroaches there, if nothing else. The reason I keep looking down is just where my screen is. Cody, you made an outstanding range call on Bitcoin when you said it would go range from 13,000 to 5,000 several weeks ago. Many quote unquote crypto industry pros are claiming that the bottom is in. Even though most altcoins will probably go to zero, as you predicted, Cody, do you think Bitcoin has been the worst of the great cryptocurrency crash? Written about in your book. I'm quoting this guy. Written about in your book and available free to subscribers of tradingwithcody.com. And he wrote a smiley face. Yeah, that's a good job there, Gambler15. Funny username on Trading with Cody, because we try not to gamble. Maybe you're being ironic. Irony is not dead, despite the fact that Taco Bell's former CEO is now Chipotle's CEO. Maybe irony is dead. No, I don't think the bottom is in Bitcoin. I think that it's still a frenzy, man. It's not like it's going to be, the bottom's not going to be put on near term. When you have got scams and frenzies and this mania going on in Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, when you're getting ad after ad on Wall Street Journal, Market Watch, any Yahoo Finance, any financial related website I'm on, I've got an ad for someone telling me crypto genius or the next great crypto or the next Bitcoin, and that's until that stuff's dead, this bubble's still bubbled. So as I wrote in that book, The Great Cryptocurrency Crash, I think it'll be a year or two. Over the next year or two, maybe 25, 30 months here, you're going to have a lot of pain. Right now, it's still too early, probably. There's still tens of billions of dollars being spent on scamming or promising people that this stuff is going to work, and sort of like the .com thing that I write about in that book, the parallels are there. At some point, a lot of these current iterations of cryptocurrencies and blockchain companies are going to go to zero, even if they're not scams. They're built on an artificial bubble where there's tens of billions of dollars being spent on conferences that are putting this stuff together, and all that stuff is there right now. It's percolating, and then there'll be pain and losses, I expect, and ugliness. And that's the time, somewhere in the next year to 3 years, I do expect you'll have some really ugly bottom put in some cryptocurrencies. The best way to tell when that bottom is here is I won't be getting questions about, is the bottom in? The question will be, Cody, are you crazy for buying cryptocurrencies? That's what you want. Nobody's telling you you're crazy for buying cryptocurrencies right now. The grandmother and grandfather at the money show are asking me if they should be buying cryptocurrencies. They should think that's insane. That's what they didn't know what a cryptocurrency was when I bought Bitcoin at 100. Now they're asking me if they should be buying it. No, man. I don't think the bottom's in. Gotta let the pain come. Gotta let the losses come. And please, people out there, be careful with your money. You don't have to be the ones who get swindled. Even if you believe in blockchain, put a little bit in. It's okay. Put a little more the next time it's down 20% in a day. It'll happen. A lot. Let's see here. Cody, I've done a little trimming today from what I bought at the panicky lows a couple of weeks ago. Are you adding any additional hedges here? I'm not. I haven't done yet. You'll get a trade alert as a Trading with Cody subscriber if I do put on another hedge. I did trim some Solar Edge today, stock that we own. That's, like I mentioned earlier, up 25% today and up 300 or 400% since we bought it. And I think cash is king right now. I've been bringing in some cash on some of my projects, and I'm not putting that to work. I'm letting it sit on the sidelines, and Trading with Cody subscribers know that I've been trimming some and building up my cash hedge for the last couple of years. And no, I think hedges are great, and I probably will add some more puts at some point. But for now, I'm still mostly net long my Revolution investing stocks and not trying to game the slow, short-term, quick volatility moves in the markets. I might put a little more hedge on at some point, though, if we rally back towards the recent highs. Probably will. Second. Parched. Parched, unlike this stock market, unlike this economy. It's fertile. What sort of approach do we take now, Cody? Is it time to get rid of a large amount of our stocks because investors will flee from stocks sometime soon, or can we expect a rocky road for the foreseeable future, in which case we should keep playing the same game? In short, are we at the precipice of a cliff or apocalypse? If you like even more drama, Trading with Cody subscribers have some humor. Maybe not the best humor. I mean, we're not exactly on Saturday Night Live over here. Frankly, that joke was funnier than anything I've seen on Saturday Night Live in a while, too. And that wasn't a pro-Republican, pro-Trump comment. I am anti-Republicans and anti-Democrats, as always. And if you ever say anything about a show that is anti-Trump in this day and age, everybody's like, oh, the guy here must be from the liberal left, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not from the liberal left. I don't understand the left-right paradigm. I don't think people on the left are actually liberal, and I don't think people on the right are actually conservative. Trump ain't conservative, and he's not an outsider. And if you're in part of the Republican-Democrat regime, including voting for them, you're an insider. But I digress. Or do I? Comes back to the question, are we on the precipice of a cliff or apocalypse? Maybe. I don't think so. But at some point, there will be a crash. There will be another crisis. There will be a financial crisis. There are banks out there right now doing really stupid stuff that is going to result in hundreds of billions of dollars of losses at some point. From some currency stuff or some levered up mortgage-backed security derivative stuff or some derivatives off of cryptocurrencies, or who the heck knows, but you know it's happening. And again, when the government, the Federal Reserve, and everybody's going, we have fixed the banking sector, it's much stronger than it ever was back in the olden days. That's not really how it works. They're going to get caught off guard. Whether that's next month or next year or 5 years, different discussion. It will happen. I don't think it's next month. I think it could happen in the next year or two. I'm going to have my ear on the ground and my nose to the ground and my eyes to the sky. You can really get too far along in metaphors if you're not careful. We don't want to shoot from half court, though, the next crash. We want to have had some layups. I don't know, forget the metaphors. No, I don't know that it's right here about to be a crash. Just be careful out there. Remember my lightsaber. Please. Props. lightsabers are always good props. We don't have to go to the dark side right now and get short. Forget it. I'm tired of the metaphors and trying to stretch the metaphors. I quit. Cody, I've read several news stories. Hey, see if someone wants to ask a question on there, would you please? If you're on the app, how many people are watching? 38. Awesome. If you're on the app and you figure out how to log in and you want to ask me a question, we are offering you that opportunity at this very moment. The only person a couple weeks ago who was able to figure out how to log in and ask me a question was a 117-year-old man. One of my favorite subscribers, Joe. Shout out to you and your daughter, Kat. All right, guys, let's see. Here's a question. I have read several news stories about the higher than expected inflation report today and the market shaking it off and going higher. Cody, are we back to risk on short term? I mean, it's sort of the same as the last question. I don't even know. I don't think so. I think the recent near-term spike in volatility indicates that the market at best is probably sideways bound for a little while. I think the recent greed and complacency amongst retail investors at the money show portends a sideways to downward market for a little while. Just because the economy is going great, just because corporate earnings are growing, just because all of that stuff is happening doesn't mean that the markets will just keep this steady as she goes, gradual climb higher. So, I happen to think that there's more volatility ahead here. I would think it might be a time for the bulls to get scared a little bit, but then the bears aren't going to get paid either. And that would just mean maybe 2 to 5% swings back and forth in the market for the next 6 months. That would be my feet to fire near-term guess. You know the best way to profit off that? Put your money in a savings account and chill out. Cody, does Apple potentially buying chips from a Chinese manufacturer change long-term potential and cut into Western Digital's pie? No. Answer is no. Look, flash storage in general, DRAM even, but in this case flash drives, data storage, has gotten to be an oligopoly. This comes back to the bubble-blowing bull market dynamics that you see from the Republican-Democrat regime. And when they have allowed most every industry to roll up all of its competitors to the point where most every industry is in an oligopolical state, as it is, for example, in data storage, when there's only 3 to 5 competitors in any given industry. Margins go up. Cyclicality decreases. Not to mention the fact that it used to just cost $1 billion or so, maybe a few $100 million to go build some data storage chip stuff, factories. It's several $1 billion now. So that's one of the reasons I own Western Digital. A recent purchase at Trading with Cody. Subscribers, go to tradingwithcody.com if you'd like to sign up. See all of my trade alerts. See all of my latest positions, long and short. Piper, you're going to have fun doing this transcript tonight. I'm on fire over here, people. Fire, I tell you. See if anybody on the app wants to join in. I hung up on the conference call. I guess I probably shouldn't have done that. See if we got any other questions. Hi, Cody. If you haven't already addressed this, going forward, as opposed to going backward, what are your thoughts on inflation and what rate rises and what are your thoughts on inflation and the rate raises to tamp it down Can the market handle rates of corporate earnings continue to grow due to a favorable administration environment? This would be a Republican asking the question if I had to guess. I don't know. If you're a relatively objective, which is perhaps a contradiction in terms. In fact, that is a contradiction in terms. But if you're a relatively objective Democrat, you might say, I recognize that the Republicans are doing a lot of the same stuff that the Democrats and the Republicans have been doing for the last 20 to 30 years, and they're favorable to giant corporations. Obamacare was not for the person at home, you know. Obamacare, the bill, was written by corporate lobbyists from the healthcare industry, all of whose stocks, if you were in the healthcare industry and you wrote Obamacare, your stock went up 500% in the next 5 years. You want to talk about providing healthcare to individuals, let's talk about it. But that's not Obamacare. At any rate, Obamacare, very friendly to giant corporations, as is the current administration. At any rate, the question is back about the same topic, that yes, inflation isn't going to kill the bull market. I think it'll be some sort of a dislocation in the stock market or in rates or in currencies or something that those banks are out there levered, making crazy security things on. That'll cause the next downturn, not a gradual higher interest rate market environment. Blah, 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 blah. Most economists, when you hear them debate, are theologians. It's like they get locked into some dogmatic philosophy. My morality dictates I should be conservative. So then they end up seeing the entire world of economics through a conservative lens. And again, I don't even know what conservative means in this day and age. I don't know what liberal means. If you vote Republican or Democrat, you're corporatist. You're not liberal, you're not conservative. And maybe that's part of the problem, is you get captured in corporatist thinking as an economist in this day and age. So you listen to guys on TV arguing about the Trump administration versus the Obama administration, and I honestly just get confused, because you just sort of, if you can step out and look at just sort of the economic impact of all of the policies that I've seen enacted, and if you even look at the morality of it, you see it being written by corporations. And I don't think, no matter whether I'm liberal or conservative, left or right, I don't think on a moral basis I want my government and my laws being written, my tax code being written by corporate attorneys. I'm bringing all of that up because, it ties into the concept of, does inflation tamp down stock markets, and can the stock market go up as there's inflation? And I argued on Kudlow and Company on CNBC probably 12 or 15 years ago, many times, for deflation. As the average person in rural or inner city America who's living paycheck to paycheck would have huge benefits, immediate benefits, to the purchasing power growing every year instead of decreasing every year. Deflation would mean you can buy more soup and more grapes and more clothes and more gasoline, more computers, etc. Computers deflationary, price of computers and cell phones and data. Steady secular decline throughout our lifetimes. Not so for health insurance, health care, education, things that, by the way, guess what? The government are involved in. Government always gets corrupted. Free market sometimes gets corrupted too. Is there an easy answer in my own personal way of looking at all of this as objectively as I possibly can? Yeah, there are. It's freedom. I guess I end up being somewhat, I hate to say this, a little bit libertarian-esque in my philosophies on economics. I have confused myself and rambled on about probably nothing valuable at this moment. Any other questions? There's nothing else here in the chat room. You will get a transcript to all of these questions if you posted one. Stay tuned. Piper, you have any questions?
Not that I can think of.
There's a question. Cody, what do you think about Impinj? PI, the stock symbol at its current level. Is there still a growth story behind the name? Look, PI is an RFID, radio frequency identification company. Little tags that you can track inventory and things on. And look, I've moved on. I've lost faith in the management at Pi, and when that happens, I typically just move right along. Last question, Cody, do you think CRM, Salesforce, looks attractive as a takeover target for corporations wanting to toe up in the cloud? The short answer to your question is no. Hey, there we go. CRM. I accidentally hit the microphone button on Google, and it said, do you want to activate Google voice? I'm like, whoa, wait, you guys are already listening to enough. Alexa, stop listening. I don't know, does that actually work? Alexa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I listen once I hear the wake word.
Liar. How can you listen once you hear the wake word and not, how do you hear the wake word without listening, Piper?
How does it even?
Is that not mutually exclusive?
No, you told it to stop and then begin.
I call BS, Alexa. That is nonsense. You cannot start listening when you hear the word unless you're listening to hear the word.
Alexa, give me some lunch.
She hung up on you, bro. CRM, let's see what the market cap is at this point. That's what I was going to check here. I think 15 billion, I mean, 80 billion dollars. Now let's talk about how many companies on the planet could possibly buy CRM. You're going to have to pay 50% premium minimum because shareholders at CRM and what's the guy's name? Founder, former Oracle guy, genius. He's not going to let that off. Benioff, is his name? Anyway, he's not going to want. I got a picture of him there. Can't think of his name. $80 billion. The PE ratio, according to Google, is 15,000. It's wrong because their earnings are higher than that. But look, guys, $80 billion means we're going to have to pay $120 billion if you wanted to buy that company. How many companies on the planet could pay $120 billion? Not a lot. So no, I don't think CRM is a M&A target in any way, shape, or form. And I'm hungry and getting tired now. I've been talking for 45 minutes. I hope it made a lot of sense. In the last week, have been in Dallas, Orlando, New York City, LA, Albuquerque, Ruidoso. And I will leave you with this thought. Nobody is scared. And I'm not one to take a lot of advice from Warren Buffett because, after all, is a guy who used to come on my show and send his son to come onto my show on Fox begging for bailouts back in 2008 because he wasn't fearful when others were greedy. They would tell you to be fearful when others are greedy. And there's probably some wisdom in that thought. And I just don't think there's very much fear out there. Maybe we should be greedy the next time there's fear. But to start with, we need to be fearful while others are greedy. Can we relatively objectively, can we relatively objectively come to some sort of an agreement that we all 100% buy into? I don't know. Oh, this is contradiction. I should talk about stocks. Because that's what we do, right? We contradict ourselves. Could go up, but it could go down. Near term, lots of positives. Longer term, should be scared. Short term, buy, but just a little. That blah, 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 blah. Nobody's got the magic potion. There's no easy money. Except buying cryptocurrency at $100 5 years ago, which was not easy. It's never easy. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. Piper, see if anyone else wants to ask a question if they figured out how to log into the app. I like the interactivity. We didn't get it today. Nobody knows how to log in. That's disappointing. Don't point. All right, that's it. I'm going to go. Eat some lunch. Taco time. Peace.
It sounds like this thing's done.
Oh, yeah, it's in the bathroom.